I began to tear down those those walls one brick at a time. I began to accept that love is about relationships. Love is about we can say I'm a loving person, but if you're not in relationship with other people, how do you know? If we lived in a cave all by ourselves, how would we know? We could consider ourselves a loving person, but how would we know? We need that reflection of the other person. We can't live in that vacuum. We need to see ourselves reflected back to us, our beliefs, our ideas, our love, our own divinity. It's our opportunity to experience ourselves through the eyes of another person and see and experience ourselves as a reflection of love. If we can look through the mirrors of our relationships, think about the relationships that you have. Are they mirrors? Why are you in relationship with person A and not person B? You like what you see reflected, right? You like what you see better reflected in A than you do in B. So when we can look through those mirrors, we can begin to heal our fears and beliefs about love that don't support our soul's desire for unity and oneness. We can begin to see that. We can begin to do the work of tearing down our own walls and limitations and begin building our own bridges then of love. I am very blessed that in 1992, I got some very sage advice about relationships. You've probably heard the story before. I think I've shared it before, but bear with me. You're going to hear it again. Um, I was at a holiday party and I met a commercial real estate agent, and we had a lovely conversation. She was very delightful. And at the end of the evening, we exchanged business cards. Let's have lunch. Left, drove home thinking, it's like another networking thing, right? You hand out 100 business cards, you say, let's get together, and you never get together. I got a phone call the next day inviting me to lunch. I accepted. And at that lunch, I mentioned how surprised I was at the call and then actually being here at lunch. She said, why are you surprised? I said, yeah, networking things, you hand out a million cards, you say, let's get together, and nobody ever does. And she said, if I want to be a friend, if I want to have a friend, I have to be a friend. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. There we go. If I want to have a friend, I have to be a friend. And I wasn't studying science of mind back then. And so I do not know if she had studied it, knew Ernest's words, but that's from Ernest. And I took those words to heart, and they have served me very well ever since. And she's a very special person in my life, and unfortunately lost her too soon. But anyway, it's nice to think about her this morning, to think about that relationship that we had, that we built for many years after that. Excuse me. So we must be a friend to have one. We must be a partner or a spouse to have one. We must be a good neighbor to have one. I have a neighbor that's not so nice. He's not nice to everybody. Go to the homeowners association meetings, and he's always the one that's not nice. And I have another neighbor that is very nice, and everybody in the neighborhood loves her, knows her. She knows everybody. She can probably tell you everybody that lives in there, probably their birthdays. but she's just delightful. She's a good neighbor. Because she's a good neighbor, she has good neighbors. Because this other person's not a good neighbor, you never see the neighbors walking over to his house to visit. But there's a constant parade at the other lady's house. If you want a good neighbor, be a good neighbor. If you want a friend, be a good friend. If you want a romantic relationship, be a good romantic partner, right? That's how it works. Ernest says, or we must first become the vibrational match to what we seek. And Holmes says, where love is manifest, harmony and right action follow, and the vibratory forces of the body are lifted and changed into higher and finer rates of vibration. This is why love feels so good. We're raising our vibration when we love another person. And how many have boyfriend, girlfriend that are just, I've got a group of girlfriends that are just, my vibration is always raised when we get together, right? So it can be close friends. My sister and I spent an hour on the phone on Friday, Saturday, whatever it was. Anyway, my vibration was raised. It's that thing that Ernest is talking about here. Our vibration is raised, and this is why it feels so good. It raises our vibration, and we feel closer to that God source. We feel closer to our unity and our oneness when that vibration is raised, because spirit vibrates at such a high elevation. To be in relationship with another is part of our divine nature. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. And it's reciprocal. Can't just give it. Got to be willing to accept it also, right? A lot of times it's easy to give. I didn't receive none of that stuff. If I receive it, I might get hurt. It's got to be both ways. Again, Ernest says, all is mind, and we attract to us what we first become. So until we learn to love, we are not sending out love vibrations. And not until we send out those vibrations can we receive love in return. What are you sending out there? Are you sending out love vibrations? Or are you sending out prison walls with giant electric signs that say, do not enter? The choice is ours. What vibration are you putting out in the world today? This week, let's tear down the walls. Let's let each other in. Let's practice being love. If you would like to learn more about these principles and take this message home with you, you can sign up for our Mindful Monday newsletter. You can do so with the QR code, front lobby, or send me an email. And Reverend Lee and I send these out every Monday. It's a recap of our talk and our weekly practice. And this week's practice is unity. Unity. Set the intention to let down your guard, tear down your walls, and make a new connection. Say hello to a stranger. Look them in the eye. Make eye contact. Offer assistance to someone. Take the time to strike up a conversation. Pause and take the time to be present with another human being. Remind yourself daily that all is God, and then look for that divine presence in another human soul and say hello. Say hello, looking for the divine, and really be present. We'll close this morning with another quote from A.H. Almas, who says, to love and to be loved is a necessity for each human being. We cannot live without it. If we do, our life will become two-dimensional and unfulfilling. I don't like that prediction, so let's get out there and love. And now it's your turn to talk because I can't. All right. There we go. Who's got a question or a comment? Y'all are fun.
Well, once a week I volunteer at the hospital in the surgery waiting room. And it's really amazing how you look at a whole group of 30 people sitting there waiting, and some of them will look kind of grumpy or whatever, and you're kind of nervous about going up. What I found is that I don't care what they're looking like. I go up and introduce myself, say why I'm there. Some people say thank you, and then they go on to their phone or whatever they're doing. But many times they really want to share the concern that they have that day, what they're going through. And it has really been so opening to me to see how needy people are and that we just assume they're not, depending upon the way they happen to present themselves. So I just was going to say that, yes, I think if we reach out, the worst thing that can happen is they're not going to respond. But, more times than not,
Hmm.
they are going to respond, thankfully.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Victoria. Anyone else? Oh, Jennifer.
I I'm sure I'm not the only person, but I've spent a lot of my time waiting for love to come to me, waiting for friendships, waiting for and feeling afraid to put myself out there for fear of being rejected. But then, as you hear more and more of these teachings and just speaking to other people, the awareness that maybe so many other people are going through that as well, and they're just waiting
Hmm.
to be reached out to, or to, so just making the decision to take a chance and put that out there. It's amazing. People are so neat.
Hmm.
And if you just get a chance to open them up a little bit, and then these beautiful connections happen.
Very true. Thank you. Very true. That's exactly it. We've become a society of afraid. It's like, oh, I can't talk to them. But yeah, we can. We can. And it's part of that is, I think, being filled up with our spiritual practices each day. Because when our hearts are full, it's like Lee says, you can give from the saucer when your cup is running over. So when your heart's full, you've got a lot of love to give. And it's not so scary approaching people. And like Victoria says, if they're not open to it, no harm, no foul. Next. All right. 340 million of us and 112 men are lonely. So somebody would talk to you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oops. Well, shall we pray? Oh, so going within to that infinite source of love, we recognize that love is all there is. There is only love. And that infinite love is that which has created all from itself. That is the source. That is the one source and substance of all that is. All that we see around us is a manifestation of love. From the smallest to the largest, everything in between. It's all God. It's all good. It's all love and joy, peace and harmony. And all of that's here now present, in, through, and as me, as an expression of it. And as I know that I am an individualized expression of that, I know that each one of us gathered here today is. We are one, whole, perfect, and complete in that oneness, uniquely expressed in our own manifestations of it, as it lives, moves, and has its being through us. Individualized expressions of love. And so today I speak my word for each of us, knowing that our cups are full, our hearts are full, our hearts are overflowing, and that we are love in the world, and we take our love out into the world. And we're no longer afraid to make a connection, make a contact, say hello, make eye contact. We are expressions of love, and we're here to express. And we're here to see the divine in others and in ourselves as reflections. We're here to express each and every gift that we've been given, and they are numerous within each of us. Some express, some not. This week, we have the opportunity to step forward into our day, into our world, and into the lives of others as the loving presence of the divine that we are, and to make a difference in those lives, and to see that difference reflected in our own lives as we experience more of the divine as us. And so I know this day, for anyone that has anything on their heart, whether they are seeking love, friendship, reconciliation, joy, peace, harmony, abundance, whatever it is, as they lift that into this prayer, we hold that in our consciousness, surrounding it with love, knowing its pure manifestation right here and right now for the highest and best for all concerned. And so it is with deep gratitude and a heart filled with joy and thanksgiving that I release this prayer into the action of law, knowing that it is done. And we affirm that together by saying, and so it is.